Let's make some big fat techno kicks. So I'm going to talk about the 4 elements I made to use this kick, and I'm obviously using a Serum preset here. The preset is available on my Gumroad for $1, but if you don't have the funds, it's totally okay. I'm going to go over everything and how I made it in this video. Teach a man to fish or whatever. So the preset is actually super simple. It's just a sine wave here, and we've got these 4 macros doing basically everything. The first macro, Thump, makes it, well, thumpier, but what it's actually doing is it's attached to the decay of envelope 2, and the decay of envelope 2 is actually attached to the coarse fine pitch on oscillator 1 right here. So if we increase the thumpiness, the time of the decay goes up and makes it, well, thumpier. So next up is click, and click is doing the exact same thing but with envelope 3 also on the coarse pitch. But the decay is only moving by like 0 to like 10 milliseconds. And this just gives us a little bit of click on the front end of the transient. And that one is a lot more obvious when you start adding our third effect here, which is distortion, or drive in this case is what I called it. And this is just routed to a couple of things in the effects. For one, obviously, it's routed to the tube distortion, but it's also routed to some EQ to clean things up, and it's routed to the gain on the compressor to bring the overall level down, because when you start distorting things, it can get really fucking loud. So just to keep things balanced, when we have it turned up or turned down, you know, you want it relatively the same volume. So when it's turned down, it gets really clean and almost like 909-ish, but when it's turned up, it's almost entering like hardstyle territory. And the last one is literally just a high pass. I find that I like to bring in a high pass kick in the beginning of the track or something like that, and then drop the full bass in later, right? So this is kind of more just an arrangement tool than anything. So those are what I would consider the 4 key elements of making a techno kick. And honestly, right now, you might be saying to yourself, synthesizing kicks is such a pain in the ass. Why can't I just use a sample? And the answer to that is when you want to go back and actually mix something, or say swap out the kick or change the pitch of the kick, it's so much easier to do it when it's synthesized, and you can go in and tweak a couple knobs for a few seconds rather than sit there and listen to 100 kick samples. And then you got to match the rest of the drums to the new kick, and it's just a mess. But synthesized kicks do come with their downfall, right? So they do sound a little bit lifeless because they are super perfect. There's a way that we can fix that, which is by layering a sample on top of it. So you can see here that I've got our kick laid out, but I've also got this top kick, and I will solo that so we can take a listen. Super crunchy. I really like the character of this, and you can see I just aggressively cut out all of the lows and low mids because we don't want any phasing issues. We just want that top little click, and psh. So if we combine those, you can see it just gives a little bit of life back to the kick so it doesn't feel so perfect and rigid. And here's a quick idea I wrote just so you guys can hear the kick in context. Remember, you can buy this preset for $1 on my Gumroad. The link will be in the description. Acid leads obviously go pretty well with this, so if you want to learn how I make my acid leads, watch this next video. I love you. Bye. Subscribe.